If you happen to find yourself in downtown Fort Worth on March 11th, come by Hyenas and check out the comedy show that I'm going to be performing in on that day. If you do miss it though, the videos will actually be going over on Ginger Prime Comedy. Check out the link in the description for that channel, and hopefully you guys enjoy the show. But let's talk about why I'm not really negative and what Amazon's true plan is going forward. The last couple weeks have been really interesting. If you've never heard my theory about the 3 seasons of MMOs, hype, grind, and complain, just note that that's going to be something that we'll talk about in more detail in this video. But overall, I've actually been called somebody who either is a complete simp for New World or absolutely hates this game in the last couple weeks, which is obviously the wide range of the spectrum there. It's the most extreme ends of this. And I want to explore that today. There's a little bit of an inspiration there. But over on Ginger Prime, there was a conversation going about my latest Throne and Liberty video, which was really kind of baked into that I'm not hard enough on New World, that I'm not seeing all the issues, or I don't seem to have any problems with the way that Amazon is handling it, and that Amazon is on the clock. And I think that's one of the things that I want to bring up about really what Amazon's doing. From all the conversations that I've had, from all the moves that they are making, I think essentially it's going to be something where over the course of the next couple years, it's going to be very plain and visible to everybody what their plan was from the start. But I want to tell you hands down that when it comes to New World, when it comes to Throne of Liberty, when it comes to Blue Protocol, Lost Ark, and the other games that they're working to pick up and bring into their wheelhouse, Amazon is trying to create an environment where it doesn't necessarily matter what game you're playing as long as you're in an Amazon game. And that's what their true plan is. If that's all you came to hear for the video, thanks so much for being here. Hit that like button on your way out, or be sure to tap that dislike button twice to make sure that it's working. But at its core, that is essentially what Amazon's getting at. Now, are there things in New World that will allow you to live in the game and experience it for a very long period of time? Yes, most people who really express a lot of frustration are easily over probably 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 hours by now. That's people are pouring a lot of time into this game, and they want that to be successful, and I do too. New World caught me by surprise. I did not think that I was going to really like this game, but I really fell in love with it. And it's true that I probably maybe haven't, hit the point home about my issues with the game. And I want to spend some time in today's video talking about those. But I want to point the question to you right before we dive into the rest of this video. First and foremost, do you think they're trying to make a game that you live in, or do you think they're trying to make a game that you can jump back and visit from time to time? I think that they're working on the game that you can visit. There's going to be stuff for the no-lifers, but when it comes down to it, when you look at how much variety is out there, the MMOs have shifted to the seasonal model. And maybe that frustrates you. And I'm not saying you're wrong for feeling frustrated because of that shift. Just note that you and I probably grew up in an age where you just consumed one game for, 13 years. If you factor all my time with Final Fantasy, that's well over 20 years with Final Fantasy 11 and Final Fantasy 14. That's a lot. That's a lot of time that I've put into 2 games all within, kind of that same wheelhouse. But with the fact that you have New World, and when you look at Destiny and ESO, and all of a sudden we could just start naming off games. When you look at hell, even the Battle Royales, the Apex, the War Zones, the Call of Duty is the same thing. The Fortnites. I don't know why I drew a blank on Fortnite, because I never really cared about that game. When you look at those structures, they really continue to try and invite you back in to the game. And I think that is essentially the model. That's why you see them picking up so many other games as a service. Sony's looking at that same kind of way, because I think what they want you to be is they want you to be checking in with the game every now and then. That's the power of what Twitch brings. Outside the drama, outside of the reaction content from, Asmon and the rest, there's that layer, that level. But then at the same time, when it comes down to it, Twitch acts as this continual check-in. That's why every time that there's going to be a big update for New World or insert whatever game there is, you're going to see people coming back. Hey, should I come back to this game? Because you already own it. There's no additional fee that you have to pony up. I think that's the strength, and I think that's what they're trying to build. That, hey, don't forget about us. Maybe check in with us once a year. And they're perfectly fine with that ebb and that flow. And they're perfectly fine with competition coming out, because the competition that people keep listing are all Amazon games. Blue Protocol, Throne of Liberty, even though it hasn't quote unquote officially been announced. That's where my money's at. Like, if I was going to be hands down, that's who's the publisher for Throne of Liberty, and who knows what other games they're going to try to pick up and bring into that wheelhouse. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty substantial, and at some point, if you're playing in an MMO, you at least have one AGS-based MMO in your pocket at any given time during that year. Now, let's talk about my frustrations with the game. Let's talk about that, because that's important. I don't want to sit here and tell you New World is absolutely perfect. No, it's not, but it's its potential that I'm attracted to. And maybe you're not like me, and that's perfectly fine. Some people don't want potential. They want core, awesome, kick-ass, ready-to-go games. And those exist. And I would say go play those. And then you can always decide whether or not you want to check back in with this game. But for me personally, the server's structure, take a deep breath here and, just let it all out, Brian. The server structure that legitimately is one of the core biggest frustrations. The frustration is that people want to play, and they want to play with their friends. That's what, Blue Protocol's rocking and rolling with its serverless architecture. And I think that's really going to be critical. People want to be able to log in and play with their friends, because guess what? Other games allow for that. The more roadblocks that you put in front of people to play a game, the less likely that they're going to want to stick with it. If they got it like, hey, we got a new friend and, oh, he's on another server, like, that era has passed, and we have the technology, and AGS has the technology to do it. And that's what they're working towards. But unfortunate, it's just going to be something that takes time. And it's not without its cost, right? Because all of a sudden we start saying, you just log into the game and play with your friends. What does that mean for wars? What does that mean for territory? What does that mean for these other systems? And so those systems will have to go under a redesign, or they'll have to be something that kind of plays along with it. Personally speaking, if they would let people just kind of guest and play wherever, because at the end of the day, like, you just want to log in and you want to play with your friends, that they could have kind of a hybrid, a blending of both. And I think that ends up being kind of the case. Like, I would say, like, from a PvE perspective, just let people get in and play. I think that makes it a lot of fun. I think that gives a lot of people a lot of what they need and what they want. And then there's essentially the open world PvP, which we'll talk about what I want from that here in the future. My other big frustration, because I think, again, to kind of bring the last point home, that is probably the biggest frustration and key point. Server migrations and structure, all of that doesn't necessarily matter if you can play wherever your friends are. If you can team up and get together with a group of people on your own time where that works for you. That's why cross-server play coming to OPR and then them rolling that out to like the expeditions and stuff like that will actually be such a huge help. And it's unfortunate they don't have it now. But to kind of really just, this is why it's so important, is that that's where it, like, once you can do that, like, okay, servers, doesn't matter. Some people want to play on a small server. Some people want to be in a group, like a server with a couple hundred people, so that they can really control land and they can really kind of make their world their own. And that's perfectly awesome. But they can't really do that now, because so much of the content they might be cut off from because they can't fill in the slots. So they got to fix that, hands down. XP values, post level 60 for weapons and for your level. The fact that XP hits the floor, it bothers me in every game that I play. So it's not something exclusive to New World. I continue to provide this feedback. I'm going to continue to hammer that point home. And I think that's going to be really great for them if they can open that up. It could just be another avenue of getting gypsum. I don't care. Just let me continue to gain experience. Keep me at 60. Keep my weapons at 20 and let them level up, and maybe a gypsum orb or something like that drops for that weapon every time you would quote unquote hit a new level for it. I think they would have to look into some things, etc. Some systems like maybe giving bonus experience for mobs the longer that they live. That'd be really great. That would actually open up various different farm areas within the game, because you tend to see people kind of migrate to, oh, this farm is very good. Well, why is it good? But what would make it better is that there was a farm that nobody was doing. All of a sudden you're getting bonus experience, and then that opens up the game to take more advantage of this beautiful world that they have. I think that would be really, really great. And then the final thing when it comes to open world PvP, I like it, but it's not incentivized right. It's also not focused right. Now, they talked about that in some of their past videos. We're going to have to wait and see what they deliver this fall. I mean, this spring, and then the summer, and then this fall, as they continue to refine the territory standing and kind of their focused undermining system that's being brought in. I think if they can highlight that also on the map to really draw attention, like, hey, if you want to be doing open world PvP, this zone this, this week or today or these next 2 days. Like, that will be fun. That will drive people into doing that kind of content. It makes it way more interesting and active and focused. And then you got to incentivize it. And if they can do that, like, it's every time we do open world PvP, we have a great time. It is a fun thing. But the game does not necessarily incentivize it or reward it or focus it in the right respect. So hopefully we get to see that happen, because I think a lot of people would really enjoy that piece of content as offered, because the open world in this game is truly phenomenal. And the changes in the roadmap that they've already detailed, I'm excited for. And I like that it's not completely detailed. It gives the room for surprise and excitement. And we're going to see some more of that, because like I said at the start of this video, the 3 seasons, grind or hype, grind, and complain. We're in the season of complain. Like, we have not seen a lot of content drop. We got the winter event and some of that stuff, but that was seasonal based. So Brimstone was a big update. That was like, the end of October, early November. And here we are going into March, and it's most likely going to be March or April that we see the big spring update, which will be good and it will be fun and people will be excited. It won't be as big as what the fall is. That you need that marketing, that you need either an expansion or another like massive update like Brimstone. But I think an expansion's the right route, because you can take something like Brimstone and put a couple more zones in there, and then all of a sudden it's bigger, more weapons, more things to do. I would say that going into whatever the big update is a lot of them is kind of finishing off their core offering this year with the story that they're working on, and so much more. But no, I'm not negative about the game, like in terms of like doing it for the views, right? Like, that's the other thing I have to juggle as a content creator, in terms of what are we putting out, what value is this driving, what am I offering the viewer to hopefully better their day, when it comes down to it. And I've shown what drama posts do. Like, I've put those things out, I've made that content in the past, and I've then turned around and shown you all the stats of what it really means. And I know Twitch is baked in drama and it drips with it, and that carries over into YouTube. I just don't see that as sustainable. And that's what those videos do to highlight. So that's kind of what happens, right? Like, that is the cycle. And if once you start to see that cycle, the 3 seasons, and you apply it to the content creation cycle of the 3 seasons, at some point you're just like, oh, okay, I guess we're in the season of hype, or I guess we're in this and that and the other thing. So that's just kind of how I view it. That's how I've always kind of viewed it. And that's just what I try to do. And yeah, can New World be better? Yes. Will it be better? Yes. Will it take time? Yes. Is it AGS's, is AGS under the clock? Not as much as people will like to assume that they are. New World is a advertisement for AGS. That's where they can showcase what they can do. I wish they would go to the SEA region. There's a lot of things that I think they could do better. And I just think a lot of people are discounting them out of it, like ignorance, or out of some other company did something and we're going to apply that to them. And I'm just looking at the evidence. I'm just looking at the data, and it just continues to point that they're doing good things. They're making the right moves. And I think gaming's going to get better because of it. Doesn't mean it's going to get better over the next 10 years. Maybe not. But at least right now, you know what? I say go for it. Go for it, AGS. I hope you make awesome games and make, great monetization, customer driven focus stuff. That's the most important thing. But I'll cut it here, guys. I don't want to ramble too much into your day. Hopefully you got something to get out of this video, as that's always my goal. Hopefully you enjoyed it regardless. And if you feel like you want to do so, like, sub, share, comment. Those are the great interactions that help drive the content forward here on the channel. And with that, I'm going to wish you all the best. Thanks for being here. Hopefully I'll see you next time. But until then, take care.